was delighted to hear Esif talking about the idea of dildo library, because I think if I had to define my look and my vibe, I think dildo librarian. Absolutely spot on, isn't it? No, I'm actually a stand-up comedian. What a weird thing to be what you genuinely do with your life. And still, when I tell people, I feel like I'm lying. I feel like I've just whipped an unfeasible job out of thin air. Like, I think when people ask me what I do, the way I see it is they've asked me what I do, they've looked at me, they've made some assumptions, you know, based on my look. Librarian, yeah, obviously. Substitute teacher, yeah. Maybe she's got quite a good typing speed. And or a very small niche OnlyFans. Jokes on them. I'm terrible at that. So they've said this to me, what do you do? And I've done the equivalent of saying, oh, I'm a lion tamer. Or a famous astronaut. Like, it doesn't feel real that I'm a stand-up comedian, but I am. Worse, sometimes I will tell a man that I'm a stand-up comedian. Yeah, don't do that. I'll tell a man that I'm a stand-up comedian, and he'll pretty much say, a comedian? But you're a woman! And, okay, 1, sexist, 2, gender essentialist, 3, he says it like I might not have noticed. Like I'm going to go, whoa, bloody hell, yeah. Absolutely right in the end, yeah. I thought I just had my backpack on backwards. Do excuse me, I'll go and do something feminine right away. Like make you a sandwich in my underwear. I mean, I'll go in my underwear to make you a sandwich. I don't mean I'll make you a sandwich in my... It's a health and safety nightmare, isn't it? But yeah, that is what I do. The other thing I do, because you'll be astounded to know that I don't make a living out of this yet. The other thing I do is I'm a children's entertainer. So professionally, I run the full gamut of human experience. On the one hand, you know, I'm used to performing in front of audiences, you know, crying, asking for their parents, sometimes puking or wetting themselves, having a little breastfeed. And on the other hand, as I said, I am a children's entertainer. It's a cheap joke, isn't it? But it felt unavoidable. The big difference, though, between comedy and children's entertaining is the heckling. Okay, when an adult heckles you, it's annoying, it's boring, it can be hurtful. When a child heckles you, they're brutal. They will rip you apart. You have not known imposter syndrome until you've been heckled by a child. As a children's entertainer, my character is a wizard, so I tell stories, I do a few little magic tricks, and it is the worst feeling in the world to have a room full of 7-year-olds screaming at you, "You're nothing but a fake! You're not real!" And it's not even that I'm not a real wizard. I'm not real. I mean, there, a grown-up heckler will say, "Get off your shit." A child heckler is basically saying, "Retreat back into your own imagination, where you belong." It is terrifying, and they're doing this. I'm standing there with a spoonful of bicarbonate of soda in one hand and a bottle of vinegar in the other, having a full-on existential crisis, and thinking, I wish that this was a comedy club and this was an adult, so I could tell him to fuck off. I have to sing him happy birthday. But you might ask me, me, Chrissy, why do you do this to yourself? Why, if the heckling can get this bad, do you continue to be a children's entertainer? And the reason for that is threefold, because that's how comedy works. First, it's a job that I can do, and I need a job to fund my hobby, which is not dying of starvation. So I do that. Second, I think I'm quite good at it. I identify with kids. And third, I just love it. I genuinely love it. Kids, they heckle so well because they're unfiltered. And I identify with weird, unfiltered people. I don't do very well socially in most circumstances. You might have noticed. But once, when I was being a children's entertainer, a little girl ran up to me, just launched herself at me, head down, elbows out, proper like rugby tackle style. But I thought, she's 4 years old and skinny, I could take this bitch in a fight. So I stood my ground, and she stopped short of me, held out her little closed fist, slowly opened it to reveal a half-eaten sausage, whispered, "Sausage," and ran away. And that's the best interaction I've ever had with anyone in my life. She won't remember that, but that will stay with me. I'm actually a parent myself. I have a kid. I think it's going pretty well. I fed her today, so. I love being a parent, though. I really love having a kid. I think it is so moving being privileged to watch this screaming potato gradually blossom into a weirdly dependent flatmate. I love being a parent, and one of my favourite things about being a parent is being able to share my cultural references with her. I love being able to share all these cultural references with her as she gets older. So imagine my delight when once, when she was very young, we were invited to what I would call a regulation wedding disco. The kind where the DJ set hasn't changed since 1993, and that's okay. Yeah, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get Oops Upside Your Head. You are going to get Superman, Cha-Cha Slide, Grease Mega Mix. Yeah, brilliant. It's a safe place. It's a happy place. And I didn't see much of Anwen, my daughter, that night because at the age of 5 she already had more of a social life than I ever will have. And because that night she attached herself to my friend Julia. She followed Julia around all night. And when it was getting towards kind of midnight time, Julia was starting to flag, understandably. She was edging towards the boundaries of the dance floor. As You Can't Touch This blared on the stereo, trying to talk to another adult. And I was delighted to witness this tiny, tiny child with the most sombre, earnest expression on her face run after her and say, Julia, you have to stop! It's hammer time! The thing about being a parent, though, which I think any parents will probably identify with, is that when you're a parent, you spend so much of your life, so much of your time, your energy, your soul parenting, that when it's time to stop parenting, it's really hard to turn it off. You do find yourself pointing out moo cows to strangers on the bus. The worst one of these that ever happened to me was my partner at the time had a friend round. So this was 2 guys in their late 30s, kicking back, playing cards in my living room. And let me tell you, it really does change the whole vibe of an evening. When you go up to your long-term romantic partner and his friend, who you don't know very well, lean over them and say, "Will Mummy get you a drink?" I had to have a threesome that night just to save face. You've been absolutely lovely. I unfortunately have been Chrissy, Derbyshire. Thank you. Sorry, please ignore me. I wasn't here. Thank you. We come to you Enjoy the